get enlightened when you're alive. Don't have that problem inside you. Don't be tensed about it. Then I said, oh, thank God. And I don't have to do anything. Because you may be great seekers who are willing to go live in the Himalayas and you're willing to put in a lot of time into yoga, meditation. I am so far from that, you'll be shocked. In my life, I've never closed my eyes for meditation. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people like me too. So I tell that and then I console myself. I have kids over here who, at the age of 7, they gave up a very luxurious, pampered life with their parents in the United States, in Singapore, and they just came to Swamiji at the tender age of 7. And when they introduce themselves and then when they tell you how they made it through the journey, you'll just feel like, what on earth are these kids? What are they made of? The Enlightened 2018 World Tour is just an effort by some of the disciples and devotees of His Divine Holiness Paramahamsa Nityananda to inspire and encourage all of humanity who visits us, experiences us, that there is something more to life. That is called a superconscious breakthrough. It is time to experience that. That is pretty much the reason why we happened on the planet. And everything else, like our careers, our family, or anything, that just becomes part of life, but it's not life itself. That is why when you pass away, you just feel, at that moment, you feel, is that all there is? And what really happens when you pass away? What's going on in these dark, unknown realms? And why are we not asking those questions while we are alive? If everyone knew that if you fall asleep, there is a 90% chance that you may even pass away, no one would fall asleep. Think about it. His Divine Holiness, his whole life is a vast sacrifice, a very, very vast sacrifice. Not in a negative manner. In Sanskrit, we call this as tyaga, when without any purpose, just the way the rains are attracted to completely parched, drought filled lands, like that, when the superconscious energy takes form in a human frequency to relate with you and I, that being is called a Divya Sharira, a divine body, an avatar. So, this avatar of superconscious proportions comes down in skin and bones and flesh without any personal aim, just to showcase us and handle the questions of our complex minds. We become what we see. So, when we look at Him, the more you are exposed to Him, the more you become Him. And this is not a superstitious thought. This is something that is really scientific and it is proven by a wonderful phenomenon called mirror neurons. You have certain special neurons in you that only mirror everything. So I have this little story for all of you. There's once a doctor in a psychiatric facility, very famous, very well known, and he decided that he's going to have an alternate alternate form of therapy, and he's going to tell all of the mentally challenged patients at the facility to start creating paintings, drawings, whatever they like, they can do it. By and by, he saw that art as a form of therapy really helped the patients, because in the beginning they would scribble out all things like dead people and people getting murdered or whatever, things that don't even make sense or anything. But by and by, the painting started improving. From dead people it became flowers and so on and so forth. But guess what happened to the doctor? He kept analyzing these paintings day in and day out, day in and day out. That's his job, right? He became completely crazy. And it's actually a real life story. A lot of psychiatrists who believe in painting is a great form of therapy. It truly is. But if you are having the misfortune of having to sit and analyze what you see, you become that. Art created by you is a very, very powerful expression. Lines and sounds which are created from within your inner space has the power to transform anyone. That is why I just openly challenge any of you. You just go on looking at Swamiji, just at his third eye, at his eyes. You will have an intense experience, and that experience will be something unlike anything. You could be a skeptic, you could be a rational, you could be a disbeliever, you could be an extreme believer, you could be a very emotional person, whatever it is. Just casually go on looking. Suddenly you'll feel deep within you a wonderful flowering is beginning. Something that is totally unexplained. And there is no need for a reward or an incentive for one to experience it, because as you see this child, this is Madhurananda, and as you see her here, she's just a combination of sounds and lines put together. So you're basically made of what? You're basically made of atoms. Yes? So even if you think you're made of hearts and flowers and rainbows and unicorns, even then also you're still made of atoms at the basic level. Now, what are atoms made of? So many things: electrons, protons, neutrons, and then you've got neutrinos, you've got several thousands other things within it. But ultimately, it's space. This space, the space between planets, the space that you see between me and you, it's just space. Now, this space is what you are made of. So, if you're going to live in a psychiatric unit, that space affects your space. If you're going to live in the presence of an enlightened master, his space transforms and affects your space. It is common sense. It actually does not even require thinking. Now, if all of us go and live with a bunch of monkeys in a zoo, I heard the zoo in Amsterdam is supposed to be really great and all of that. I also heard that they're looking into freeing all the animals and keeping holographic animals instead, so that it's going to. I was very happy when I heard that. So you can have a great experience too, but you don't really need to keep them in captivity. But let's say if you went into a cage full of real monkeys, 2.5 days. It takes 2.5 days for you also to start scratching your head exactly like them. Just 2.5 days. It's an energy cycle. It starts from 2.5 minutes, 2.5 seconds, 2.5 days, 2.5 hours. Swamiji says, wonderfully complex, extraordinarily complex. And this complexity cannot be understood by our two eyes. It's just not enough. Right now, my two eyes would look at you and say, that is a gentleman with a black coat. And because you are white skinned, I would say, okay, maybe you're European. But that's only based on my two eyes. You could be Arab. You could be from any other place. Like people always look at me and dreadlocks when I'm traveling. They'll say, Rasta, Jamaica. And then I'm like, I'm from India. Really? What is wrong with you? Or the Indians in India will ask me, are you from South America? I'm like, I'm from South India. I'm from Bangalore. And not that I wouldn't like to be a Jamaican or from Trinidad or from any other place, but I'm like, your two eyes, whatever information they are capable of having, they're so limiting because they only take you at that level. They're not able to look at all your dimensions, all your 11 dimensions, not 4, 11. When we look at you, we should be able to see. With the two eyes, I will just look, that's a beautiful woman dressed in, maybe navy and black. And maybe she's feeling really cold because she's got her stuff inside, because she's got her hands in. And then she has nice. So maybe she likes us. That much we can conclude. But if you look through a third eye, which is located between your brow center, even if you're blind, even if you do not have two eyes, you still have a third eye. Whether you want it or not, every single person has a third eye. It needs to be awakened. It's like this: when you buy a new iPhone, you need to activate it. Simple. So when you have a third eye, there are so many with an awakened third eye and grossly misunderstood by human society. We call them autistic. We give them the label of ADHD. I had photographic memory when I was born. You show me any language, anything, in 1 second, if I look at it, I can replicate paragraphs for you. And my school sent a note in my diary with my teacher, to my parents. This child may have ADHD. I think you really need to check it out. Because I would ask ridiculous questions in class, trying to, stand upside down because I just think the world is more better upside down. So, because of all these anomalies, you are a little bit of a patient type of a person. You belong in the hospital because you don't conform to what society is normally comfortable with. There are kids who can look at people who have passed away, divine beings. They can look at other things. I, for example, when I was a child, used to speak with dustbins. It's a classic case to run to the psychiatrist with your child. But thank God for my parents, who are very, very, very cool people. They just decided that our daughter is extraordinarily creative. She sees God in everything. So they told me that you see God in everything, in parents, in human beings, in animals, in a lizard, in a chair, in everything. So thank God for that one difference. I grew up without having to go into an asylum. Why are we talking about this? Because we are on the subject of the third eye. Your two eyes can only recognize a certain amount of information, and sometimes when it becomes too much, you want to go away from that situation, you want to close your eyes, you want to back off. But when you have a third eye that is awakened by an avatar whose very life purpose is to expose you to your own higher self, then with an awakened third eye, you start developing extraordinary powers. It is not magic. It is your true state. It is your natural state. A lot of children love to play blindfolded. Why? How many adults like to play blindfolded? We're like, excuse me, I'm a person with better things to do with my time. But kids are not like that. They like to put something on their heads and they'll like just run around. Why? Because naturally they are programmed to see beyond what is hidden, to see through the darkness. All the kids on stage are so fortunate that at the age of 7, they made the decision that they want to live with Swamiji and study with him. And their parents are extraordinary beings that they respected their decision. They did not say, it's a 7-year-old child, what do you know? They said, your being is asking for it. That's intelligent. I'm going to trust you and let this happen. So now, when your third eye is awakened, you get to see situations with a whole new perspective. You see a person, but what you really see is what you were in past several lifetimes. How long your journey has been. When I'm able to see how long you're from a squirrel to a little mouse to a person now, a wonderful compassion starts bubbling inside. And it would not matter even if you show skepticism towards us. You'd just be able to see and say, look at that long journey this person has been through. See the reason why she's asking certain questions. Then you will have the power to speak into that person's listening. You just feel seen. How many of you watched this Avatar movie? Have you watched it? What is your good name? Sorry? Pure? Okay, that's wonderful. I forget that I'm in Amsterdam and all the names are going to be a little different. As complex as Mahayogananda is. Okay, so Pure. Is that the way to pronounce it? Okay, all right, thank God. Now, have you watched the movie The Avatar? You did? Okay, I hardly see people who have not watched that movie. Do you remember the dialogue where they say, I see you? It is such a beautiful thing because that may have been fiction or science fiction, whatever it is. But in reality, only when you have a third eye, you can actually tell the dialogue to someone. Even if you're husband and wife who have lived with each other for the last 63 years, sometimes you have lived it without seeing each other. You may have a beautiful child that was born out of your own blood and flesh, but you'd not really see them. You may be working with your boss for the last 25 years, but them. To see is to understand the super consciousness that lies within every single person. You live with you for such a long time, but you may never have really seen you. So the moment someone really makes you see you through your third eye, you have such a powerful respect towards yourself that becomes powerfulness. As long as there is powerlessness in our lives, it will create disease, it will create a lot of drama around us. Because let's say you're walking somewhere and a thorn goes inside your feet. Are you just going to keep walking? No, you're because the pain is going to make itself felt. You're going to leave a blood stain and you're going to start limping. And if you don't care about it, it's going to become septic. It's going to create even more pain. It's going to create the pain till you decide to sit down, put your leg up, and pluck it out and get the right medical attention. Just like that, your powerlessness inside is a thorn. It is going to make itself heard outside of your life by creating those painful situations or stressful situations or whatever situations. It's going to do it till you sit back, take a look at what on earth is happening. Only when people go through something like a near death experience. Have you ever had a near death experience? Anyone out here? I've had a near death experience. That's how I met Swamiji first. Otherwise, I had no clue who he was and had never met him, was never looking forward to meeting any spiritual guru or anything like that. However, when you see people who have had a near death experience, you suddenly see they become deeply spiritual overnight. They're like, no, life is not only about work. Let me look at my family. Let me look at my kids. Let me look at people. Let me look at spirituality. Let me travel. Near death experience does that to you because you come that close to losing yourself. So it's that is why when you come to Swamiji, he makes everyone go through what we call as the death experience. Don't worry, you're not dead at that time. But even houseflies, not houseflies, sorry, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes will not come and sit on you. You know you are alive inside, but your body is just out cold. You are completely alive within you, so that makes you lose the fear of death. It makes you lose the fear of losing something. You and your loved ones. And please understand, when His Divine Holiness is capable of literally giving you the death experience, and when you come back from it, you're like, my goodness, it it feels like only now I'm breathing. It feels like only now I'm seeing. All the colors are a lot more sharper. What's happened to you? You've lost the fear of death. You've consciously gone through the experience with the help of an avatar who has mastered the unknown. When somebody has mastered the unknown and they are your guide, they are your teacher, it just helps you enter your own unknown zones because without knowing the unknown part of you, we are just kidding about whatever we think we know about ourselves. For those who have lived with Swamiji a long time, who have been his disciples for a long time, like all the people who you see out here, they will tell you real stories. They will tell you that when you're with Swamiji, you will experience one program. Look, the only way, if Swamiji was in the middle of a forest under some big volcano, which has a mystical fountain or a waterfall there, and it's really, really hard to access, would we be all able to go? No. You need a program like this. You need a comfortable ambience like this. You need a comfortable date and time with snacks and tea and coffee and a restroom and everything because we are still living our lives. I can't just catch you and put you into a deep forest and say, now meditate like Buddha. Buddha sat under a tree and just decided that I'm not going to get up till I get enlightened. So, even completely emaciated, the flowering of true knowledge happens. But how many of us can do that? I know I can't do that. I can't go and sit under a tree like that. There's just too much to do right now. And my life situation is the kind that I cannot go sit under a tree. Please understand. That's the reason why Swamiji makes himself through the language that modern day humans can understand. Through a program. All throughout his life, his transformational programs are not about you living life in a great way. He will say, don't go to a master for security because he will throw you into complete insecurity. And while you go through it, he will actually show you how he's with you, and then you understand your real power. Then you understand that you are a divine being having a very human experience. You may be a software engineer, but unless and until you know the atoms that make up the machine or the object that you are engineering, that you're studying, we truly cannot understand what we are creating before us. It is as simple. Therefore, the Enlightened 2018 World Tour is a way we go around the world manifesting and demonstrating extraordinary powers. And today we have the opportunity to showcase the real effect of what Swamiji does, or the third eye awakening, the effect it has on your brain. It is absolutely extraordinary to see what happens. And it's not just one or two people who can manifest it. It's every single devotee and disciple. So many people have told, what does it mean to be touched by Swamiji? Why is he wearing, why are we worshipping him? Why are we worshipping his sacred footwear? Why all this trishul? Why all of this? After all, he's like a human being. And I don't believe in worshipping humans. However, when you see the impact of what happens, even if it is a table that is capable of transforming life, there you have experienced what you call as God. And many people come to Swamiji and ask him, are you God? He just says, no, 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 I am not. I am much above and beyond your idea of God. And he's very clear about it. And that is pretty much what he continuously teaches us through various programs and experiences. First, it was the inner awakening. Then it became Shivoham, the program names. Each time we thought, even as disciples and devotees, I always thought, this is the ultimate. After this, there cannot be anything more than this. Next, he will start with Mahasadashivam. Then you think that's the ultimate. And no. Next, he will start with Paramashivoham. And now we think this is the ultimate. It won't be. There's something much more. And that's why he's called an avatar, because there is no end to the multiple ways, multiple combinations, multiple permutations of ways in which you get to experience superconscious breakthrough. Yes? Wonderful, wonderful. So, today you're going various extraordinary powers. Maybe the ability to see blindfolded, maybe the ability to walk around blindfolded, the ability to have X-ray vision just through your third eye inside a human body, the ability to have remote vision, and scan your homes, your living spaces, whatever you like, the ability to answer any question under the sun, the ability to download information about any even unknown concepts, the ability to heal something and alter. Okay, what is your good name, sir? What is your name? Yes, Nikolai? Okay, all right. It's a little easier than your name, though. Okay, so Nikolai, where are you from? Sorry? Now that's much difficult than your name. It's nearby? In Amsterdam, is it? Or have you traveled? Oh, it's out of Amsterdam. Okay, all right. So nearby. Great. So something found you in this program today, and let me ask you this question. Do you know that there are 14 energy centers in the body? Well, even if you don't know there are 14, at least you would have heard of 7 chakras. Yes? Okay, so you have the Sahasrara. What else do you have? You have the Agnya, which is the third eye, which is the Vishuddhi. You have the heart center, which is the Anahata. You have the navel center, the Manipuraka. And below that, what do you have? The Swadhisthana, which is your fear center. And then all the way at the base of your spine, you've got the Muladhara. That's actually called your sex chakra, your root chakra, your sacral chakra. There are various names for it. Okay? Now, energy centers. Now, I brought with me, hopefully, it'll really come through and it'll help you experience it. I have something with me that can actually show you the health of every single energy center of yours. And let's say for some people, you know, their energy centers, the chakras, will be like all over the place, like footballs are being kicked all over. But in just 2.5 minutes of receiving healing energy from us or using a spiritual alchemy experience, it's a spiritual alchemy object created by Swamiji, and when you just are able to look into it, your energy centers, meaning your subtle body, starts aligning. And when the subtle body starts aligning, once again the machine will be able to show you how they're all aligned. And the makers of it, it's a great scientist from Russia, and he says you cannot measure the changes immediately. You have to wait for 20 days or 30 days to see the change. Even the Reiki grandmasters who try to use the machine, they'll say you need to measure at least 11 days later or 20 days later. We will just show it to you 2.5 minutes. The makers, they came to me with this little contraption with the machine, and I said, test yourself first. Let me see if it works on you. And the guy had a very, very strong stomach related problem, which we scanned, and I told him, why do you have this tummy problem? And gave him the reasons for it. And I told him to eat some food from Swamiji as a means of healing it. So he said, how did you know that? I'm like, we're able to see it. And he's like, you can see it. I'm like, yes, I can see it. And at the end of the day, when the machine itself showed that his Manipuraka, the navel center, was like all the way skewed to some other area in the chart. And then I said, look, this is what we told you about. And 2.5 minutes of healing. Just 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Remove the hand or you just use the third eye for it. Guess what we see now? It's back to the center and it's expanded like a balloon. If your energy centers are this tiny, like a golf ball, if your Manipuraka, especially your navel center, is as tight as a golf ball, be assured you will have gastritis. Be assured you will have polyps. Be assured you will have a host of ill effects in the physical body. Because your physical body is not just made of a heart, a brain, liver, lungs. No. Your brain is matter, but there is a very strong intelligence behind it. It's diminishing, then you're left only with the matter and it's not useful. It's as simple as that. So hopefully today we'll get to show you that, and through the qualitative electroencephalography machine, which is also called as QEEG, in this case maybe an EEG machine, we will show you the effect of what happens to us when we just see Swamiji in our third eye. Meditation, no nothing. We can even talk to you at that time. But you can see the effect on the brain. And I dare say that the health of your brain directly relates to the quality. Let's say if you've had an accident and your brain has suffered some damage, will that effect show up on the rest of your body or no? It will. But let's say if you just have a cut, is that going to show up as a wild impact on your brain? Not so much. Only in the psychological level. But if you've got a physical damage to your brain, oh my goodness, your whole life is almost over. So it means that if your brain is able to exist at the highest frequency and the highest level of activation there could be, does that not mean that your physiology has to listen to your brain? So naturally, if your physiology is fantastic, your outer world also has to change. If you're a sick person, physically sick, will have a great time? No, they're too busy taking care of you. They're too busy worrying about you, too busy spending money over you. Physiologically, if you are in great condition, like almost like a divine superhuman, then how do you think life will be materially and for the people? Your quality of life shoots up. And this is what we call a superconscious breakthrough. Making your brain go back to its original capacity of experiencing 11 dimensions of the universe, where you are able to understand you have multiple existences and you are able to see it. So you can be with your child also, you can be with your husband also, you're at work also. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because at the quantum level, at the subatomic level, then what is the subatomic level? At the smallest unit level of you, your electrons, your atoms, they're in multiple places. They're not just tightly packed. I know the United States is spending close to $50 billion a year in the science of teleportation. Do you know why they're not successful? I've got nothing against the US. I love the country. But can anyone tell me what they're doing wrong? I recently met a bunch of researchers, and the simple answer that I gave them, how did you know that? I'm like, we've got a third eye. Any answer you want. This is the area. It acts like a cosmic browser. You browse. It's so much better than Google. Google is great. No, there's no doubt about it. I love Google. Google is great. But Googling the universe with your third eye is an experience. It's the difference between trying to drive a really ordinary, broken down car and driving an amazing, not driving, I see cruising around in a, you know the difference? Well, that's the kind of difference. Please understand. The reason why in the United States they're not being successful with this teleportation of atoms or even monkeys, and so many animals have lost their lives in that experiment, because you know why? They feel, see, they're intelligent enough to know at the end of the day you are space and you are a combination of light and space. So you're visible. So what the scientists in the US is, when they're playing around with teleportation, they try to infuse extreme artificial light on this one particular animal or object in a chamber. So that extreme light disintegrates the whole animal. Disintegrate. When I say disintegrate, I mean disintegrate without remnants. You will even think if there's any air left in the place, like that. That kind of disintegration. And then they expect the same thing to be recreated in the other area. But what gets recreated is not even a mess. It is just like, or not even spots, it's few molecules of blood, few particles of whatever. And then they're thinking, why? It's very simple. I forget me, Madhura, 13-year-old Madhura could have just answered that question there. It is so simple. See, when you go into an X-ray, what happens? Artificial light enters you. So it's actually called photons. Okay, so the photons are entering you. They show you to the level of your bones. You want to see something more? So you enter into a CAT scan or an MRI. So that shows you even your organs. That shows you your veins. It shows you everything. Correct? But even there, it's the artificial light. That is the reason why they say if you're pregnant, don't go into an X-ray machine. It kills life. It's radiation. You cannot take it. A single CAT scan is equal to like 50 X-rays, the amount of radiation it has. But the light of the third eye, when it enters you, it penetrates but heals. It's the very opposite of radiation. The light of the third eye is capable of teleporting atoms, molecules of water from one tightly controlled test tube into another. And there you've got antihydrogens produced. Because they're all trying to research into antimatter. Why is the third eye able to do this, and why the regular artificial light, why can't it do that? In fact, Swamiji says, all the artificial light that you have in your life, if for 6 months, is it 6 months or 9 months? 9 months? Okay, sorry. Okay. 9 months, if you completely cut out artificial light from your life, you'll be able to, your eyes will become so beautifully sensitive, you can start seeing the other extraordinary beings. I'm not talking about ghosts, extraordinary beings who are amidst you. Then you will not enter into a room and say, that's it, empty chairs, let's go back. You'd be like, oh, welcome, welcome. Sit if you'd like to sit. You become so deeply sensitive. Now, what is going to happen if you're so sensitive? Will your life not change when you're a husband and wife? Of course it will, because you're understanding each other more. Will it not change when you're a parent and a child? Of course it will. Same thing, you name it, boyfriend, girlfriend, same-sex relationships, whatever it is. You become a more finely tuned, sensitive being. So when you attend to yourself, within you, you don't need to worry about global warming. Global warming is planet Earth going crazy and getting a fever because we have stopped taking care of ourselves. It cannot be altered just by attending to nature. It has to be altered by attending to the people for who nature has manifested and nature is used. But today, we are not going to say, just believe in what Swamiji is doing, believe in the process of initiation. We're not going to do that. That is just too cruel. If you just have to see something and believe it, and someone's expecting you to do it, that is just too harsh, too cruel. You need to be able to see it quantifiably. And hopefully today, we will be able to go down that path and show you quantifiably what happens to your brain at that time without meditation. Incomplete action. Many people always tell us, if disciples of Swamiji are like this, then who is that? That's a very personal question. That's between you and him. And that's the invitation that we have come to give all of you to attend one of the most glorious programs to ever be presented to the global humanity. It is called Paramashivoham. It is happening on the December 20th of this year. It is 21 days because your body needs 21 days for a complete transformation inside out. 21 minutes, 21 seconds, 21 days, 21 hours. It's very significant. Very significant. And those 21 days are a moment where you go Not from human to divine superhuman, but you experience the plus something more component. The whole world today, at least the scientific community, is going crazy about antimatter. What it is, I will leave some of the younger kids to tell you. All I can say is, if you are seeing a human being here, there is something much bigger and beyond for that person. That reflection would be called antimatter. So scientists say that for every matter there is equal quantity of antimatter. They've not yet completely understood it, but Vedic tradition, the ancient source books of Hinduism, totally digested this because see every country has got its greatness. For example, United States is known as the land of all pleasures. You want to experience all pleasures, go to US. That's the energy of the country. You want a lot of money. Your only life is about making money. Go to Singapore. That's the energy the country carries. You want enlightenment. You have to turn towards Bharat, India. They've digested. Every country has digested a certain thought current. That's why world over they turn towards Bharat because somehow the country has been great at producing. It's become like a battery, like a nest, or like an incubator that's able to constantly create avatars who have digested the unknown, who can teach you how to access the unknown. Now, with that, I just like to lead all of you into a very tiny little process. Please sit up straight. Be very comfortable. You can stretch your legs, you can do all of that. Just be comfortable. I'd also recommend that if you're not feeling too cold, if you've already got socks, whenever you're undergoing something spiritual, your feet should be nice and exposed, visible. If you're feeling very cold, don't take off your shoes. Be comfortable. But if you feel you can manage, maybe for a little while, if you want to experiment and see what happens to you, then you can try. If you're not well and everything, then keep your shoes on. There's absolutely no problem. Ma Atmadaya? Are you ready? Everyone's ready? Just be comfortable, and it's not that you need to keep your feet on the cold floor. You can just let it hang if you want. Just be very comfortable, okay? Sit straight. I'm going to lead you into a small breathing exercise. And when I tell you, at that point, turn and just watch the screen, you're going to witness something called a oneness capsule. All the powers that we express today are happening from the space of oneness. What is oneness? If what's your name? You, the one with the Marvel T-shirt. Because because I'm a big fan of the Marvel characters too. So here's the thing. If you're sitting there and I'm sitting here, there's a clear difference and there's a clear distance, correct, between the two of us. Now, who's your favorite person in your family? Who do you think really gets you? Or maybe family or friends or anyone. Who do you think really gets you? It could even be an animal also. It's fine. Don't know exactly? That's all right. That's all right. No, it happens. Let's say, for example, let's say if it's your pet dog. for example, okay? And he's just there for you, he's always available for you, he gives his life for you, never expects anything in return. At that point, you actually, whenever you are with a person who just simply gets you, you feel there is no distance between each other. And it especially happens when you're deeply in love. You feel there is no distance. You just catch each other. And at the same time, if you feel there is no love, you just feel like, what is wrong with you? You just don't understand me anymore. You're just a pain. Why do we say somebody is a pain? Because the distance is oneness is evaporating. My question to Vikas, you have a heart, yes? Physical heart. That physical heart is beating, correct? You're not a zombie who's wearing a Marvel t-shirt. You're sure about that? Okay, that's good. So, Vikas, who's got a heart which is beating right now, what is keeping the heart beating? If you suddenly stop the heart, what's going to happen to you? And you may just have a cardiac arrest and die. You may suffer. Or you may even experience organ death, even if it's of your heart stopping. But don't worry, that's not going to happen to you today. What I because it's like, where is she going with all of this? What is she thinking? But what I'm trying to tell you is, by nature you experience oneness. Oneness with a certain force which has not really been explored. That force never asks you for a restroom break. That force never asks you for a vacation. That force never tells you, you've not attended to me today, so I'm just going to stop your heart. You ask the world's best cardiologist. Is there any cardiologist here? Doctors? Any doctors out here? Really? That's a surprising thing. I always have doctors in our shows. Oh my God, really? No, I'm just in a bit of a shock. Because normally if I ask, is there any doctors, it'd be like 3 people would at least raise their hand on average. But even they will tell you, if your heart stops, even when you try to revive it through some electrical impulses or anything, after a point you cannot revive it. You go on pumping electrical impulses into a heart. If it's dead, then it's dead. Why are we talking about this? Because by nature, if your organs are working, you are experiencing oneness as you are. That is why we see the power of being alive. We see the power of walking, talking, eating, doing anything. Oneness is the core spiritual principle from which the oneness I or the kids experience with Swamiji, it leads to the manifestation of powers. The oneness you experience with your dog shows a loving relationship. The oneness you experience with your husband or wife shows a loving, great, strong, stable marriage. The oneness that you experience with your business manifests as extraordinary, large conglomerates. The oneness you experience with you becomes your enlightenment. So, oneness is the core concept from where you experience powers, the state of Paramashiva. Paramashiva is just the Vedic tradition's way of calling the ultimate. You may call it as God, you may call it as different things in your languages, your cultures, whatever it is. Or you may even call it nature. But this oneness, people say, even though you are in oneness, you don't know it. So you're like, okay, who can give it? Swamiji, as an avatar, teaches us very easy ways to connect back to the oneness that you carry in you by your nature. So these are called oneness capsules. He makes it real fun. Spirituality and enlightenment is so not boring when you are with Swamiji. Really. He makes it so easy. He says, the mind is so complex today. You tell them to work a little hard, they will run away. For the next few lifetimes, they will run away. So it should just be like, what do you call those fat burning capsules? You just pop one after eating a lot of carbs and it just burns all your fat away. In Singapore, it's a hot commodity. Every single person wants to have it. And these collagen capsules that women keep eating to experience anti-aging, or caffeine capsules that many people have just to be alive, awake, whatever. Like that, think of oneness capsules. These are not something that you eat, but these are something that you just see. You see casually. In that, Swamiji does certain hand gestures. It could be certain yogic mudras. He creates energy grids which are placed into you. These energy grids are not limited by time, space, distance, projection screen, or anything because Swamiji is not limited to time, space, distance, whatever. Even anyone who comes and touches his sacred padukas will just feel a certain extraordinary vibration on it that you may not be able to explain. And there are no vibrators placed inside that. These oneness capsules, you are going to be witnessing one such capsule, and it's just simple, it's just available on YouTube. Anyone can watch it. Whenever you have some problem, whenever you just have some question inside you, have the question within you and just look at one of them, any one of them that you like. It's hardly for 2 minutes or 4 minutes. When you watch, suddenly your brain gets a severe clarity of the solution that you're seeking. That effect is what I'm going to show on the QEEG machine that can map your brain waves, that can map the highest activity for your brain. So today, because you're all part of a beautiful spiritual program, first what we're going to do is we will let you first see a oneness capsule very casually, as if you're seeing a rose. No need to focus, no need to intensely do something. Very casually, you will watch, and whatever needs to happen inside you, preparing you, that occurs. So you will be able to better receive the remainder because we are going to enter into really complex concepts. We're going to talk about antimatter today. We're going to talk about anti-sex. We're going to talk about 11 genders. We're going to talk about lust to love. We're going to talk about divine cosmic union. We don't want all of this to go beyond our grasping capacity. So it is important to just prepare ourselves right now, a little bit, very casually, with a oneness capsule. Okay? So Mahatma, are you ready? So my first thing is just look towards the screen and breathe deeply with awareness on your third eye and just keep your eyes open, very casually. Avoid talking to each other at this time, avoid touching each other physically at this time. You'll be very sensitive, so don't touch each other physically at this time. Just turn towards the screen and watch and breathe normally. Just breathe as casually as possible. I'll just ensure that the lights are dimmed down for you. So you have a experience without all the artificial light entering into you. There's enough coming from the. I also want to tell everyone, whenever you watch Swamiji on the screen, see anything that you see on a digital display, it enters your eyes at a rate of 150 frames per second. That's a lot that you take in. But when you're watching, let's say, a horror movie, it has an immediate impact on you. When you're watching somebody who is divine, the unknown itself, encapsulated as a certain form, as an Indian guru who's looking a certain way, that enters you. It enters you as a beautiful wave of awakening. Never violating your privacy, never violating your space. In fact, if anyone has ever done anything like black magic on you or all this voodoo stuff and done all those funny things, even those effects will leave you when you're in his presence and when you're just watching and taking whatever is coming through. So if it's a horror movie that you're watching, The same 150 frames per second can be so harmful for you. When you're watching something pure, divine, amazing, when that enters into you, it has a complete positive effect. It does not hurt your eyes, it doesn't do the very opposite. For how many of you it is the very first time into a program of Swamiji? For how many of you? Oh, wow. It's a lot of new people. That's really good. That's really wonderful. How many of you watch science fiction movies? Raise your hands. Let me see. That's a good number. Okay. It's a good number. I always say we're in for some really exciting times with Swamiji in terms of the kind of powers that you can manifest. All right, we're ready. So please turn towards the screen. Breathe with awareness on your third eye. Avoid touching each other. Just look. Slowly, you can turn back towards me. Please understand, humanity is currently plagued by five major problems. Those five problems, all of us have known of, and we may have experienced it at some point, or we see people experiencing it. And when you see others experience it, it does affect you in some way or the other. Because our life is not something that is, it's like a big group picture. If one person is affected, it's like a snowballing effect towards everyone. The first one, call it depression. I'm only talking about extreme examples. Even our low moods. Go to a doctor today, a psychiatric specialist. Even your low moods will have a tablet today. Because the thing is, they will tell you your low moods cannot be ignored. Ignored, it can snowball into something bigger when you're least ready for it and you're least expecting it. So let's say the first problem, one of them is plain old depression. Second one, dying relationships. I don't just mean relationships with each of us. I also mean relationships with your laptop, your phone, the inanimate objects in your life. It could be with absolutely anything under the sun. Dying relationships. Next, disease. What is really disease? Just break the word into two. Call it dis-ease. When you're not at ease, that's disease. Now, this disease could be absolutely anything, right from epidemics to common cold, whatever the case, because you personally know how your mood goes to a complete low dip when you're not feeling well. It's not like when you're not feeling well, you decide to run a marathon, you decide to take on Usain Bolt. You don't do that. Simple. When you have a headache, you know how your attitude changes towards your spouse, you know how your attitude changes towards people and towards yourself, you know how the procrastination comes in. Then, one more very interesting one, poverty consciousness. Even extreme billionaires, if you tell them, please, why don't you just come and have darshan of Swamiji once? It'll do good to you. You'll have some benefit out of it, whatever. Oh, I don't have the time. I'm very pressed for time. Whenever any resource is not available to you by your will, that's called poverty consciousness. And this is applicable to us even if we may be very wealthy billionaires who've got a lot of money. Or you're a person who's a vagabond. You have too much of time on your hands. But you'd be like, I don't have money to do this and that. Whenever any resource is literally not at your feet, to do what you wish to do. That's called poverty consciousness. You want to run a marathon, but your knees are not helping you. That is poverty consciousness. Because the resource of your knees needs to be available for you. And we need to actually look. My grandmother, she is 89 years old. When she was 68, they did a knee replacement surgery on her that went horribly wrong. And very unfortunately, that is not the time when we were connected to any of that. I wish that was the case. We are being really helped. So she went to the doctor and he was a specialist, really big international hospital. And they told her, you need to have knee replacement done. They did knee replacement and hip replacement. Why did they do the hip replacement? Because one day, the bones are weak, one day it could break. So better try to do whatever they have to do now. I don't know, it did not make any common sense. However, since the family was away from them, my grandparents decided to go away with the decision. And ever since that time, she was wheelchair ridden. That's it. It was a person who was so active, so extraordinarily active, was just bound to the wheelchair. And then you need someone else giving you bath, someone else taking you for the washroom, someone else doing everything for you. It's a very pathetic situation to be in. And not necessary at all. What was the problem at that point? The wearing out of the knees. They decided to do a knee replacement. If I had the powers that I have now, where you can just look into the knee and say, no, it is just some other problem out here, and this is what you need to do for it, you can avoid the surgery, she'd be on her 2 feet. Despite that, when she first came to her program, 21-day program with Swamiji, she didn't want to come and we wouldn't let her back. So we brought her, wheelchair and all, and she lived with him. On day 2, Swamiji gave her his staff. It's like a long wooden stick with some bells on it. It's a sacred spiritual staff. It's highly energized. And he said, okay, take this, hold it, go to sleep with it at night. And she did that. And by that second night, her whole body was just vibrating. The third morning, he himself got down from the throne, the sacred seat that he is seated on. He came, just pulled the wheelchair forward, caught her hand and just lifted her up and made her stand. For people who see it as a miracle, I would just say it's not a miracle. It is when this heavy dose of pure superconscious energy enters you, it supports you. It supports every atom and molecule in you. It says life is good. Even the broken bones have the strength to stand. That's how she first stood in 8 years. It was 8 years later, and as my dad's mom, she first stood in 8 years. It was not a joke. And we did not see that as a miracle. We just saw that it's a side effect of being with Swamiji. Removing the powerlessness in every atom of yours, whether that's in your knees, whether that's in your wealth consciousness, whether that's in your mentality leading to depression, whether that's in your relationships. Sometimes your body is not sick. You, as a wife and as a husband, you are not sick, but your relationship has become a cancer. Healing that. And guess how he does this? When you are with Swamiji, your frequency rises. Now, this is bringing us to the next segment of the program. What is frequency? It is a way to measure energy. Is that right? Frequency is a way of measuring energy. That's all. So if you are producing high energy, or you're a person who's at a high energy space, then your frequency is very high. And it all has to do with the brain. Highly active brain, you are emitting heavy energy. You are capable of giving, you are capable of receiving, you will never be depleted. The activity of your brain is naturally measured by waves like alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta. So let's say if you're just sitting and watching me and your brain just feels muddy and fuzzy and it goes like that. Please understand that's a moment when you're experiencing what we call as delta waves, a low frequency where the brain is not active. It's what you experience in deep sleep or in sleep. Theta means you're thinking, you're active, you're having all these intuitions. Beta, where you are doing your actions, you're walking, talking, driving. If you're very anxiety filled, then your beta will be really high, and sometimes you will really see that in people with schizophrenia, people with some anxiety disorders, and such things. And then comes gamma waves, alpha, where self-healing can start happening in you. If your alpha waves are really healthy, you can overcome problems like dementia, Alzheimer's, ADHD. It's all about your brain and its activity. Finally, there's something called gamma waves. This has not been studied very well because there not have been too many people who are able to keep their brain's activity at a level where the gamma waves are produced. So this is called the insight wave. Actually, if you're able to produce gamma waves, you are experiencing a zone that is above neuron activity. What is neuron activity? Right now, if I just come and slap one of you, you feel the pain. Did you find that funny? Okay, you feel the pain. The pain? Why so many of you are laughing? No, really, if somebody comes and slaps you, you really feel the pain. So when you feel the pain, the impulses, why do you feel the pain? Because the impulses are reacting. It's sending back the signal, tell her to stop, duck your head, run away. That's your neuron activity, the talk that goes on between neurons. That's how you're able to see, feel pain. So the gamma waves, when it is produced, at that moment, you are actually beyond pain. I have done demonstrations where I'll just tell the person to come, really strong guy to come and say, twist my hand up, do whatever except breaking it, because that's a mess. I don't want to be in a cast. So I'm like, you do what you produce as much pain as you can with your strength, but don't break it. Do whatever you want with the skin, do anything you like. I've done these demos, just remembering Swamiji and letting go of the hand. There'll be not an iota of pain. It'll just be like a very funny tickly sensation. But you will be intelligent enough to know that the person's about to break it. So you'd say, no, don't break whatever you do. And later you will see, even though at that time it'll look so red and black and blue, it's just a matter of minutes. It starts healing, goes back to normal. Why? Because you're what we call as gamma waves. Gamma waves are not easy to find. They're not easy to create. It happens when you're in oneness with the source of you. That one answer is an answer that so many neuropsychologists and neurologists around the world are looking for at this moment. These gamma waves are produced when you are in oneness with the source of you. When you're away from the source and you go like that. The food you eat, the activity that the clothes you wear. Why do we wear this much of jewelry on us? Trust me, it's not a very comfortable experience for many who will wear it for the first time. Or why do we have like at least 4 kgs worth of dreadlocks on our heads? Why that weight on us? What is wrong with us? It helps us balance. It helps us balance for the amount of extraordinary powers that we are capable of producing and manifesting and giving people. The heavy weight on your chest, made of pure gold jewelry, pure silver, pure copper, that really helps you retain this energy in you. That's the reason why. Even the The pleats of my sari, my dress, on the left shoulder has a reason. Balancing of the energy that is produced at the tips of your fingers. If they are completely balanced, you can levitate. Sorry? Yes. If the energy produced at the tips of your fingers, it's called samana. So if the samana is balanced, you can experience levitation. See, transcendental meditation, TM, they sacred mantra to some of the people. When they hear the mantra, their body will start levitating. What happens is this samana. But many of the TM people tell me, as man's mind has become more and more complex, gone to the dustbin, as that has happened, just give a mantra and make people levitate. It's become so difficult because there's so much neurotoxins in us today. Fluoride. All of you are using toothpaste. Your toothpaste has fluoride. Your mouthwash has fluoride. I recently had some dental work done and she said, fluoride toothpaste is good for you. And I'm like, no, it's a classified neurotoxin. She's like, what are you talking about? It's good for your teeth. I'm like, it's bad for your brain. So understand, there's a heavy debate on all of this. We don't even go near fluoride. We will live for days on water, but we will not touch something that's got fluoride. That's the extent to which we protect our bodies and whatever we do. Now, before we go further, you are going to be seeing a demonstration conducted on the brain. But remember the 5 problems that we spoke of. What were they? Depression, disease, dying relationships, poverty consciousness, and what's the 5th one? Oneness is not the problem. Oneness is the solution. The 5th one, I didn't say at all. The 5th one is confusion. Confusion is a disease. Today, cancer and tumor is not the problem. Confusion is a problem. Not being able to decide when you know something is good for you. These kids were 7. All of you were 7 when you first decided to come live with Swamiji. And Shambhala, you were living in Singapore at that time, but you're born in the US, right? Okay, and Yogamata is from the US. But at age 7, she and Madhura, they were neighbors. So one kid, was it you who went first? So she went first to the Nityananda Gurukul, which is a school for this extraordinary powers. And even their clothes, the way they wear it, is designed by Swamiji so that it helps your body become an avatar by the time you are 21. You become a divine superconscious being. You want to be a wife, you first become an avatar and then you be a wife. So then your husband doesn't want to leave you and run away all the time. Otherwise, you're only part of these married jokes that happen. So she first went to the Gurukul, the sacred spiritual school, and when Yogamata heard of it, I don't know what kind of dialogue they had when they were 7 years old and they were really tiny, but it's gone along the lines of I like yoga, I like this, I like that, and Yogamata has decided to go. So at age 7, they were completely away from the disease of confusion. Otherwise, at that age, when you're thinking you want your daddy, you want your mummy, you want your uncle, you want your aunt, you want your whole family, you want the Barbie dolls, you want Harry Potter, at that time they're like, I want Swamiji. No confusion. Life without confusion is a power. If you are confused about something, please understand 99% of your energy is getting sucked away by that thought which is confusing. You create the disconnect out of confusion. Decisiveness is a power. Being able to decide is a power because only when you're able to take a strong decision, your brain responds in a different way. Alpha, high alpha starts happening. So when high alpha starts happening, it's like healing takes place. It's not healing all the problems that you have, which have become like a barricade around you. See, people always tell. There's a great, huge, big businessman. Um, they're very, very well-known, iconic business family in India. You may have heard of them, the Birlas. They came and had darshan of Swamiji. Public record. There are thousands of people over there when this happened. So they came to Swamiji once, and the main person, the head of the family, he told Swamiji, Swamiji, I will give you 100 crores. I don't know how much that is in dollars. Anyone out here who knows? 100 crores is like, I don't know, something millions of whatever dollars. He said, Swamiji, I will donate this much to your organization, to your spiritual cause. You just get my daughter third eye awakened. Then Swamiji said, you keep your money with you, you relax about it, you give me 1 week of yours and your daughter's time. I will make you manifest all the extraordinary powers, give you complete clarity in life. You can also go and inspire others. He was never able to make that 1 week. Billions in the bank. But you cannot spend time where it matters. It is a frightening situation. Not just sad, it is frightening. Then we have to ask, is the money ruling us? Is the business ruling us? Or are we creating it out of our abilities? So now, I want for these 5 problems, 5 antidotes are there, which are going to be presented at Paramashimoham, this 21-day program, which is for the very first time it is coming in front of humanity. And Swamiji always says, take the first chance given, because you never know if it's ever going to happen again. He did this even for the Kailash trip. People didn't believe. Then we never went back, because a program is not about organizing a venue and a place and some fancy lighting and a fancy stage. A spiritual program of the mega cosmic proportions like Paramashimoham needs a lot of cosmic alignment. Day, date, time, even the number of people that come in, the variety of spiritual alchemy products created for it. It takes months to create certain things like that. Months of energizing processes, what you will undergo. So at this program, the 5 antidotes to these problems that plague literally everyone at different points in time. 1, we have to learn about sex and anti-sex. You may be 1-year-old child, but you need this information. You may be shocked. Sex, according to us, is a physical act. It may give you pleasure, it may give you pain, it may give you some creation, like a child. But it always keeps you in the throes of, I need that person for this to happen. As long as you feel you need somebody else's body, or you have the urges which are coming up in the body, till that time, you can never feel powerful. And neither will the other person feel that you are making them powerful. What is anti-sex? You have got light, then there is anti-light. Anti-light is like a shadow. Matter, then there is antimatter. There is light, and then there is anti-light. You can say it is a force behind what you can see. Simple. Light has a force, has a certain energy. So the force behind what you see as light, that becomes anti-light. The force behind what you hear as sound, that becomes anti-sound. The force behind the sex and the sexual pleasure, that is pure creation. Absolutely pure creation. The right knowledge about the most basic and the most powerful action that human beings undergo in their life. Because when you feel the pull of sexuality, at that time, you think of other things? No, it doesn't happen. It's the most primal call. But when there's confusion and wrong ideas placed into that, that's when the whole perversion happens towards how you work with your body, how you work with your child's body. That is the reason why today there is a maximum cases of child sexual abuse. Maximum. Why? Because an adult who is a father and a mother, at their hands if a child is getting abused, at the hands of the family if the child is getting abused, what is going on? Morality cannot help you. You need a complete washing in and out of your psyche, of what you've been trained to take within you. This is about anti-sex. I would actually like Mahatma, they can actually hear what Swamiji has got to say on anti-sex. The less said, the better, because it's an experience by initiation. In ancient India, people were initiated into yoga, to puja, rituals, initiated into eating, initiated into studying, initiated into sexology. It was a powerful initiation. It was not just a, then you have a body, you've got something attached to your body, use it on a. It was not gross and crass. It was a beautiful science that could lead you to enlightenment itself when you express it the way you are spiritually educated for. That's all. Are we ready? Sorry. Just ask after that. What I've already listed. And at the same time, you may think that, how can you talk about sex and everything when you've got young little kids out here? That's the perversion that all of us have been taught because of the various other visualizations and everything that we have been fed. But like one of them, they will tell you that because they maintain the vows of brahmacharya. What is brahmacharya? Practicing celibacy. But it is not by force. Till the age of 20, the system settles down with a true understanding of Vedic sexology. Hang on, ma'am. Please wait till I tell. Till it really understands the true sexology, how it is creation. Till then, neither will they utilize somebody else's body, nor will they allow their own bodies to be used. When you start anything from confusion, it only leads to mega confusion. So that's about anti-sex. So get ready to watch what Swamiji has to say on that.
Everyone uses to trap others. A legal system which wants to keep human beings under the control, it looks at the sex in that aspect. How you should be introduced about sex so you can be kept under control. A person who wants to addict you and earn money to you, he introduces sex from that angle to you. Prostitute tries to introduce the sex to you in a different angle. Police tries to introduce the sex to you in a different angle. A religious leader tries to introduce sex to you from a mom and dad introduces to you different angle. Your wife introduces it to you in different angle. If you have extramarital affairs, they introduce the sex in a different angle. Each person gives his own version, understanding about sex to you. I'll give you precisely the version of Paramashiva, master of sexuality. He elaborates on the science in all aspects as a reproductive act, as an entertainment, as empowering act, ultimately even as an enlightening act. So I will introduce the whole science to you from the angle of Paramashiva. He looks at the sex only as an opportunity to make you manifest the state, space, powers and beings of Paramashiva. Each cognition about sex in the level of self, in the level of consciousness, in the level of society, in the level of individual relationships, in the level of the world, and in the path towards the God, from all angles, going to look at it from the vision of Paramashiva, from the cognition of Paramashiva and Shaja. The angle of Vision of Paramashiva, the truths about sex, and make it as experience for you in Paramashiva.
Nice and dark, it's perfect for sleep. But however, do not sleep. Can we have the lights turned on? Great. Okay. The next antidote, what you're supposed to learn, these five things, whether it's anti sex and then anti-matter itself. You have a body, but you need to know the force behind it. So, more on that after introducing herself. It will be Ma Shambhava who enlightens you on antimatter. That's, I think, just raise it up.
Now can everyone hear me? Can everybody hear me now?
I think it's so feeble, like a little sparrow talking.
Now can everybody hear me? Am I loud enough? Even in the back?
Okay, that's good.
Nityananda, my name is Manitya Shambhavananda. You can also call me Ma Shambhava because the name is quite long. And I'm 13 years old right now. I joined Gurukul when I was 7, which is 6 years ago. I have completed my 10th board exams and I've been in the Gurukul for 6 years, which actually how I first went there is I was just 7, right? So it's like I don't really know much, but I had an optimal life literally. My parents worked with Microsoft. My father was a senior director there. I had everything I could want in life. I had a good family, awesome friends, awesome school. I could get anything I wanted at any time. But then I felt that I knew a lot. Like I knew everything there was to know at the age of 7. But then still everything wasn't answered. If we knew everything about vegetables, why do we still feel hungry? If we knew everything about a mic, why would we not be able to make it louder to reach the whole world? If I knew everything about something, if I knew everything about a particular thing, why was I still needing to use it? If I knew everything about medicine, why couldn't I still be healthy all the time? When if about wealth. Why did we still need the want? Why was there poverty? I was starting to think like I know this, but then what more is there? Like if I have to go to school and not be able to do what else I like I used to see my friends who are older and like a little older than me and they used to have to not be able to do what they like to do and they used to always have to only be studying. And I just felt if this was what was there, if only what was visible was there, why is there so much we don't understand? If we knew everything about everything visible, everything we could see, why was there so much we didn't understand? And after coming to Gurukul, Swamiji has taught me that everything that we see just through our two eyes is not it. There is something more, the antimatter. There is matter, what we see with our eyes. But there is antimatter, what we see without our eyes. But without our two eyes, it's like there is me. If there is a Shambhava, if there is this body, there is something beyond this body. Like it's not just a body that's moving, like without which is seeing through me. There is something more. There is another version of me which is the opposite of me, but still me. And that is the antimatter part of me. So I had watched some videos about antimatter, what the modern day thinks about antimatter, and there I saw it says that like in our body now, the protons, neutrons, atoms, and everything, protons, neutrons, and electrons. In the antimatter, what is antimatter exactly? Based on modern science, it is like how our atoms are there. Inside the atom, the electron, the anti-electron, a positron. anti-proton and anti-neutron consists the makes the antimatter. But then many scientists try to create antimatter, but then why aren't they able to do that? They say they've been able to create it, but they haven't been able to sustain it. Approximately, it costs $96 trillion for 1 gram of antimatter. And that also just to make it, they can't store it because it just when antimatter comes into contact with matter, a huge explosion can occur. What? The bomb explosion at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, just 1 gram of antimatter coming in contact with the earth could destroy the whole city. And so it's literally impossible to contain, impossible to control. But we manifest these powers and we're literally creating antimatter every second because antimatter is not just a physical thing or something that you have to try to see because you can't try to see antimatter with your 2 eyes because it's not possible literally. You need the third eye to see it. And Swamiji has taught me through the third eye to be able to see antimatter.
A 30-year-old speaking this much about antimatter can only happen from experience, not from the bookish definitions and the science fiction versions of antimatter. The amount of knowledge that our Gurukul Balasans, the students of the Nityananda Gurukul, have about being able to see the unknown and make their decisions from that space gives them the right and the power to even move electrons, create things. That is why teleportation and materialization is like no big deal for them. They cannot be swayed by diamonds and wealth and chocolates and candy and the promise of a lot of wealth or anything because they're like, we've seen everything. What's next? That's pretty much the attitude that they have. So I'd like all of you to take a look at Swamiji's take on antimatter and what we're going to do at Paramashivoham with it.
All the problems of the modern civilization is because of the pure materialism based cognition. Understand? Materialism has gone to its extreme and making people mad. The only solution for the materialistic cognition sufferings is the pure truths of anti-man. Anti-matter means, listen carefully, Parameshwar clearly defines all the emotions, patterns, feelings, experiences which is there in all of us, which is responsible for our function, but which is not perceived as material, is anti-matter. If you cognize higher reality about the antimatter, your life will be a powerful manifestation of completion, fulfillment, higher form of existence. The first powerful cognition you need to cognize. Raise your antimatter inner space to the higher level of existence. Simply your outer existence will raise to the higher level. Understand? If you raise the status of the matter, you will not be successful in raising the state of the antimatter. If you raise the state of the antimatter, you will be successful in raising the status of your matter. Raise the antimatter level cognitions. You will be successful exactly right in the completion and fulfillment as you want something more.
The next topic that acts as a perfect antidote and which will be really expanded upon at Paramashivam is it's not unique. It's something that all of us have gone through in our life. It is an integral part of our life. It is lust. And taking lust to love. Many people think lust is only about physical body. It's not. There are some people, they have a great lust for shopping. Swamiji says, ultimate lust for life is enlightenment. Lust for life completely is enlightenment. That really shocked the brain out of me when I first heard it. I'm like, lust? Really? You can't even associate the word. However, some people have got a lust for depression. Even if you go on giving them solution, they will find a way to make a problem out of it. There are so many people like that. You give them numerous solutions, they will find a way to create a problem out of it. Some people have a lust for continuously bandaging themselves up, and they wear all of these crutches and everything, even without problems. If you watch some of these Barcroft videos, you will understand. Some people have got, they're completely lustful about. Lust means what? It's the most powerful emotion. It is a power. We have been very wrongly programmed that lust is something bad. It should be suppressed. Lust is a power. But because it's the most, I can say, pulling emotion that a person can ever go through. But we've only been told lustful. Just get rid of it. Transforming lust on any object or person into divinity is the process of going from lust to love. I should say this. Let's say you are very, some people, they've got something like a security blanket. And they will not let that blanket go to anyone. I've seen even adults have this problem. That's my side of the bed. This is your side of the bed. With the number of people who are smiling and laughing, I can understand that you relate with it. Even that is lust. Because, and it's not wrong, all I'm telling you is it's displaced. The energy of lust is going towards so many other useless things. So when energy is displaced, you will naturally feel emaciated. So it's like this. Let's say your side of the bed, which is so precious to you. When you're sleeping on that, many husband and wives will relate with this. Your husband and wife, you cannot even shift your sides. But when the baby comes by and it's gurgling and vomiting on your side and the other side or whatever it is, then everything goes out of your head. Why? Lust becomes love. That's what happens when fresh intelligence is added into your life in the form of a child or in the form of any other thing. Now, what happens at this point? Swamiji says the most beautiful technique to going from lust to love is bringing the sacred sentiment into the object on which you are experiencing lust. See, when something is sacred, okay, let's say if you see a woman, they always say, become a mother to everyone and become a child to the cosmos. That is the right way of living powerfully. And in our Vedic tradition, we have it like this. They say, by the time let's say if you have 5 kids, by the time you've got 4 kids, the 5th one, your husband automatically becomes your child. That is the time the motherhood truly blooms in any woman. This is irrespective of culture, irrespective of spiritual practices, irrespective of religion, whatever. It's just a physiology. We need to think. Such women you will see will have extraordinary patience. Nothing phases them anymore. If the object of your lust, you are able to make it sacred, for example, this mic. And if I'm like, this is my mic, not your mic. This is mine. If I'm like that, no, relax, it's okay, fine. let's say, if I'm hyper about my mic and I just don't want to share it with anyone else, there are people like that. This is my pen. That's my table. It's my dress. My car. right? It's not the money, it's the amount of energy that has gone into it. God forbid if somebody comes and dents that car, it's equal to making a fracture in your body. That's the impact it has on you. So, but now, if you are able to bring the sacred sentiment into it, example, this mic, what's there? Let me just offer it to Swamiji. For me, that is sacred, right? So, whatever is sacred for you, bringing the sacred emotions and the sacred sentiments into it, rather than the personal emotions and the personal sentiments into it, you automatically go from lust to love. A lot of people will be able to relate with this when I say it. If you are very, very fond of your car and you go out, it gets dented somewhere. The first hurt that happens in you is, I did so much to have it, and finally I got it. The first thing that happens to you is you think about how much you have invested, not just in money, but in terms of your hard work, but in terms of your life work, but in terms of whatever. That is why if somebody takes away your favorite shoes, we're like, that was my favorite. My mother got it for me. Do you know how much time she spent on getting it for me? How dare you take it away from me? Go and find it. Otherwise, I'll never see you in the rest of my life. Whatever the case may be. Even there, if you're able to look at the object as sacred, then instead of experiencing lust on the object, you will experience love for the object. Your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your partner, whoever the case may be. If you feel your body has some needs, so you want them. When your body doesn't feel like it, you push them away. And you expect them to understand. And when they cannot understand, they're like, how dare you? It's a violation of my personal privacy. Today, the number of people who have gone crazy with feminism and chauvinism, it scares the living daylights out of us, our community. In India, especially, the one way to, let's say you become very popular, okay, any of the men out here, this is what you need to beware of. Let's say if you become a really spiritual guy, you want to go on enriching everyone, and let's say you come to India, this is what will happen to you. If you are popular, you've got competition, government doesn't want you, this is what will happen. They'll happily create some sexually deviant video of you and release it to the world so that no man and woman will ever come near you. It's happened everywhere. That's because sex is being used as a weapon. It's such a taboo subject, even in the world's most developed countries, because no one's really understanding it. So if you show a deviant behavior, photographed, photoshopped, whatever, you show a deviant behavior, suddenly they're like, why are you going to that person? Are you crazy? Stay back. No, I did not mean any of you there. I was just saying it. It's a weapon that is used in India against all the spiritual masters, against every single one of them. The only one who has survived it is His Divine Holiness Paramahansa Nityananda. Because when they tried, guess what happened? The number of women who came to his programs just rapidly increased. Complete opposite behavior. The number of children who come and stay with him increased. What they expected, because there is a real conspiracy in the world, all over the world, to keep people away from a wonderful superconscious breakthrough that sets you free. When you have a superconscious breakthrough, you will just ask the first question: why do we have passports? Why do you need this border? It does not make common sense. It will become common sense to not have a border, to not have immigration lines. You can have security. You can check for bombs. You can check for safety, but you will not have borders. Nobody wants this. Look at the amount of fluoride that is dumped into US drinking waters, even European drinking waters. The amount of chemtrails, the chemical rains that are happening in France, continuously reducing the oxygen level to such a low level. In the city, it's very difficult to live. So everyone's going towards the French Riviera, towards the southern France, and all such things. But no matter how much of the sun in the sand you soak, you're still getting skin cancer. And it's not because of the sun, it's because of the chemicals in the air which have already become a part of you. When I went to France, it was so difficult for me to even breathe because our bodies become so sensitive. I was like, just get me out of here. Paris, such a beautiful city, one of my all-time favorites. It was so difficult to live there. We had to just live in the outskirts just because of this. And right after Netherlands, our next show is actually in Paris. It's tomorrow. Please understand, lust to love. It makes you understand the real energy and the power of lust. And it makes you reverse all the negative attributes that people yelled at you, scolded you, and tried to suppress you when you try to use lust or express it as an energy. Even between the best of husbands and wives, if you use the word lust, they feel so offended because of all the misrepresentations and the misconnotations. So now I'd like all of you to take a quick look at what it means to go from lust to love in the eyes of Swamiji. That's what you're all going to be learning at Parameshwar if whoever ends up making the decision to travel towards it. Just
Every aspect from underwhelming experiences is embedded in every aspect of our lives today. Your sense of taste is stimulated by burgers that are 10 feet tall on large advertisement hoardings. You're intimate with your lover, but your head is full of images of Miss Universe or unrealistic, manipulated images of models who are trying to sell you something. The evening news shows morbid images of rapes and wars. We seek entertainment that takes us deeper into fantasy rather than closer to reality. Your hormonal ups and downs are exploited by society with its vested interests. Let us understand from Hinduism how this sexual energy, the foundational energy of life, can be transmuted to higher experiences and superpowers.
Now I'll have Maliti Madhurananda share on one of the world's most abused topics, gender, and this idea of gender identification as feeling like we are men, women, or something in between, and having to fight for our rights in such a manner, and the kind of effects and scars it has left on people.
Nityananda, my name is Maliki Madhurananda, and you can also call me Ma Madhura. I'm 13 years old, and I was born and brought up in the US. I joined Gurukul at the age of 7, and in the Nityananda Gurukul, the school of which Swamiji conducts and has, he has initiated me and many other people around the world, even both of them my friends, into a path of brahmacharya, a celibate life, where until the age of 21, we are able to understand ourselves, our gender, and after the age of 21, we know and we have the right cognition to what we have to do in life. And if you see these days in society, people know only like 3 to 4 types of genders. But actually, in the Vedic scriptures, in the Vedas and Agamas, we actually have 11 genders which Parameshwar talks about. And many kids these days, like 51% in Europe itself, have a gender identification crisis. Like they don't know they have lots of gender confusion where they need to go through certain therapies and kind of stuff to know what kind of gender they are and what they have to do in life. They don't understand their self. And even before the age of 21, without understanding what they need to do, they just continue to make decisions in their life. And this includes like teenage pregnancy and many different types of issues which they get in their life. And also in Darjeeling, in the headquarters in India, and all over the Sangha in the world, we also have the Nityanga Yoga, where from the Vedas and Agamas, which Parameshiva has told everything from the way we get our brush our teeth till the food which we eat, anything we do, he also describes yoga, which aligns our body not only physically but also to the cosmic geometry, where it aligns us back to the source and makes us understand who we are. And if you see, these days, even food which we eat, it affects our body and many other parts of our life because they make food out of wax, like replicas out of wax, and it's like plastic food which we eat and it affects our health in many different ways. So, with that plastic food, we're not able to, like, it just affects us more and more, and people are not able to grow. But in Bangalore and in the Sangha, we take food from the Bhagavad Shastra, which Parameshwar has explained, and it is completely sattvic, where we just take certain types of foods and we are able to understand and build our body like that.
The food that she's talking about is meant to feed your consciousness, not your body alone. It is meant to feed your matter and your antimatter. That is the reason why we maintain an extremely strict diet control on food being organic and food being sattvic. Sattvic means we do not consume onion and garlic. And it's not a rule, but when you do it, at least you do not wake up with the early morning depression. If any of you feel that when you wake up in the morning, you're just not able to get up, understand that's a warning signal, that's a warning bell. You should try to drink some organic fruit juices to help you wake up at the next day or at least the previous night. If you're consuming onions in the previous night, next morning 100% you'll wake up with what they call a subtle depression. It will not make itself violently felt, but it will just be there. Why is Monday? Why do I need to go out? If somebody calls you and you respond with all those kind of nitty gritties, tiny little displays of emotion that happen. This is the reason for it. Recently, we were in Slovakia for this kind of event, and I was describing to them how they've started using growth inhibitors sprayed all over the lands and the fields over there. So when the cows eat the grass and people eat the meat and the milk, and they're experiencing, severe problems in phosphorus absorption in their body. So what happens? The guys in Slovakia, people are all growing with big build, but their bones are so brittle, so extraordinarily brittle. It's affected their kidneys, and leave another 6 months, you will just see a sudden spike in the kidney-related problems. Why? Because you will end up having a lot of calcium phosphorus crystals forming in the kidneys as a result. It's what we are able to see through the third eye. It's not a prediction, it's like a live relay for us. We will even be able to tell you what your body is preparing for in 6 months, in 12 months, in 1 year. Not just the body, but also the land of the country. That is why we say the one thing that the planet Earth needs right now, the one thing your families, our families need right now, is not a lot of morality. What we need right now is conscious seeing, conscious decision making. That's it, nothing else. And can we kindly play the video related to the 11 genders, yoga and food as per Lord Sadashiva's instructions? If anyone, I'll just give you this one example. If, okay, you, Alex, and Alex is my friend, Alex, wave your hand, that people see who you are. Alex is a 3 times world champion in Chinese martial arts. And he's also an actor, and he's done a lot of wonderful things in his life. But as a young individual, let's say Alex knows himself to be a male. I don't think anyone told Alex you are female. So Alex raised himself knowing that he's male, a male body. Okay? But now that means the way you dress, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you breathe, everything is only based on that one label, male. But what if when Alex was a young child, he was told that you are beyond male and female? I don't mean transgender, I mean beyond male and female and transgender and various other genders. What if you had that label? Then it probably just dress like the way Swamiji does. What he wears is got nothing to do with any particular gender at all. In fact, it is as the descriptions in the sacred Hindu texts, the descriptions of how the gods and goddesses dress, which parts of your body should be exposed, which should be covered. It's a complete science. Anything and everything, from brushing your teeth to washing yourself after the loo to the kind of clothes you wear to the kind of shoes and the jewelry you wear, was only done for conscious awakening. It was always understood that human beings are born on the planet to experience enlightenment. So let's add everything to their life that makes this happening a possibility. Great. Are you ready, Sharice? Go ahead.
One of the biggest mistake human beings do, you are too involved in your traffic rules, you forget the vision why the traffic rules are developed. If you understand the vision, you will follow the rules, but you will never even be remembering or loaded by the traffic rules. Understanding about the cosmos matures your being. Almost 99% of the time, you invoke such worst life destructive decisions due to your temporary sadness. If you have the vision of the cosmos, you will never make permanently damaging decisions in your life because you are temporarily sad. It is time I decided to hold mature conversation with humanity. Whatever I'm supposed to give to the humanity from the Kailash, everything directly, unedited, just mapped to the need of the humanity. Food as per Paramashiva, yoga as per Paramashiva, power manifestation as per Paramashiva, lifestyle thought currents as per Paramashiva, powerful cognitions as per Paramashiva. Now I'm going to read sex as per Paramashiva. And all the 11 genders, Paramashiva is revealing all the great truths unedited as it is from Kailash live relay. Please Paramashiva Program. Paramashivoham.
Nitendra. My name is Manitya Yogamathananda. You can call me Ma Yogamata. I'm 13 years old. I'm born, brought up in the United States, and at the age of 7, I left the United States and went to India to learn in the Nitya and the Gurukul, the school of extraordinary Shaktis, where we learn and we express many different extraordinary powers and extraordinary Shaktis. One thing that I have realized very deeply in the Nitya and the Gurukul is the food and the detoxification we need for our body. See, the food we eat every day, 3 meals a day or 2 meals a day, the food we eat might not be what we think it is. We might be eating apples which are covered with wax, special wax to make sure that they do not rot. Or we might be eating vegetables such as cabbage or even rice that are made out of plastic. We can we do not know what we're eating nowadays because it is not natural. Most of the food we eat nowadays is not natural. They go through a lot of processes and preservatives, artificial colorings, and many different sort of harmful chemicals that can harm our body. See, when we use insecticides or pesticides on, for example, the vegetables we grow like spinach or any sort of green vegetables we grow, we put some sort of covering, some sort of cap for our mouth to ensure that it doesn't harm us. But at the end of the day, that's the same food that goes to our mouth, and that's what the same food is what we eat. Swamiji is bringing back the detoxification that is needed for us to come out of this sort of harm for our body, where Swamiji reveals that there, if you add these sort of six different food in your day-to-day meals, see, if you add turmeric to your food every day, that will cleanse the body. And if you add haritaki is a sort of powder. It is like a nut. And if you sort of bring out the powder from that nut, that will cleanse. It's like a power wash for your whole entire system and increases your oxygen levels by 300%. If you add tamarind, that will heal your body. If you add lemon, that will heal your body. If you add black pepper, that also heals your body. See, these different sort of foods is what can detoxify your body from whatever we're eating nowadays, from whatever harmful sort of chemicals that are being put into our food in our day-to-day life. And also, one thing I would like to share is the fluoride that we would be consuming in our paste, for example, our toothpaste that we use every day morning, or the water we take for drinking every day, or the water we use for taking a shower, most of it, especially living in the United States, everything, almost everything, is contaminated by fluoride, and it's medically proven by the by different health organizations, especially one of them that is most popularly known as WHO, the World Health Organization, is they have also proven it that this fluoride is a deadly, very deadly neurotoxin that can stop the growth of your brain and that can also stop you from learning different knowledge and many other kind of things. And some dentists, some people might say that, oh, it's healthy for you, for your teeth, it's healthy for your bone, or whatever it is. But it is still a very deadly neurotoxin. How many of you guys know that fluoride is a deadly neurotoxin? Okay, so I see around half of the people, around 60%. I might know this. But still, we use it. Why do we still use toothpaste that is contaminated by fluoride? How many guys who knows it and still uses sort of water or toothpaste that is contaminated by fluoride after knowing this? Okay, a few of you. See, even though we know that we are using deadly neurotoxins such as fluoride, and we are still continuing to use it after knowing it, this can really harm our bodies. And Swamiji says that whatever you eat is what you become. For example, if you eat any sort of food that is contaminated by chemicals, pesticides, preservatives, artificial colorings, and many other sort of things that can harm our body, that is what we become. Not just in the physical body, but even mentally, that is what we become. Because it affects the way we think, our thought currents, the way our thoughts flow. Everything it can affect, not just in our physical body and our mental body. And with this, we'll be seeing a small video where Swamiji speaks about this particular topic of food intoxication. Thank you.
The food you eat becomes part of your body day by day. It becomes part of your blood, part of your bone, part of your bone marrow, part of your internal organ. Very subtle, but surely, in this whole process, not only the food you took becomes part, the thought currents you cherish also becomes part. The food you took is processed along with the thought currents you cherish. And that becomes part of your internal organ or intra organ. System gets toxified by the chemicals which are poisonous, which makes you withdraw from life. The pesticides and all the chemicals, even when they spray on the plants, they cover their mouth. Then when they eat, again cover the mouth. Almost all human beings in the modern day have some form of toxification and parasites inside the system, suffering with the side effects of the toxification, including cancer, impotency, and low immunity, many other disorders. Negative thought currents, toxins, when they settle together, they start acting as a small, independent army inside you against, in yogic tradition, even one cell does not listen to your will is considered as parasite, anti-being. If you have problems like I want to be integrated, I am not able to. I want to wake up, I am not able to. I want to be always active, but I am not able to. Be very clear. Your system has toxins and toxic parasites.
Thank you for watching that. Now, before we enter into the segment of manifesting powers, showing you what the third eye really feels like and how it can be quantified on a QEEG machine as well as on what we call as a biowell. It really shows you, it's screening photography but in a different format. It's much more precise, much more advanced, and actually shows you even the amount of energy that is being let out by every single organ of you, internal and what you see as your external organ in the form of your skin. Before we enter into it, I'd like to give everyone a 20-minute break. So we continue to, one bad habit that Italian yogis have is because we are so used to sitting for 18, 20 hours at one stretch and we don't have anything like having to rush to the restroom or having to rush for water, food, or any such thing. Our bodies have mutated to something else. And how he is pretty much how we have become. And of course, there's a long way to go. I wouldn't say that we are experiencing the pinnacle. Sometimes we just tend to forget that people do need a restroom break. So I apologize for that. And I'd like everyone to have a 20-minute break and be back by around 1:55. Is that okay? All right, wonderful. So I will see you back at 1:55. and you'll get to see a lot of other exciting demonstrations of yogic powers. Thank you, Nityananda.